We have Grandmaster Ding Liren, who's opened the game with English opening against Fabiano Caruana, and it's turned into some sort of a Catalan if he goes d4 here. But I think Ding can also go for b3 line. This is the 8th round of the Norway chess, and the classical game between these two players has ended in a draw. So now they are in an Armageddon battle here, which is going to be very exciting to follow. World champion versus world number 2. Knight takes d5 has happened, and Ding is thinking for a bit. He can continue with bishop to b2. He can play knight to c3. Both look pretty good. A win here is a must for Ding to win this Armageddon, as he has the white pieces and 3 extra minutes on the clock, while for Caruana a draw will work just fine. Ding is pausing a bit too much. I'm curious, what is he thinking here? Because clearly bishop b2 is the main move. There's also possible to play d4, knight c3. So there are options, but it doesn't really make a huge difference as such. And Ding finally brings his knight out to c3. Maybe Caruana can take and exchange the queens here, which would lead to some kind of an equal situation. But knight c6, bishop b2, b6 is played to get the bishop out on b7. Now he takes, pawn takes, and Ding plays d4. Now this position is clearly easier to play as white, because white can take the pawn on c5 and then riddle black with 2 hanging pawns. The engines feel that the position is around equal, which is completely correct, but it's when you have these 2 bishops sitting here, it's easier to attack these pawns. Now rook comes to c8, Ding goes queen d2, and I think Caruana can now go for a variety of moves. h6 is one. Yes, he plays h6 and rook d1. You see how white's moves are simple. He's building up on these 2 pawns. Caruana goes queen d7. Maybe not the most accurate move. He could have played a5. He could have also played rook e8 here. But okay, queen d7. Now Ding can actually take the pawn here, take the pawn, and then have a beautiful maneuver up his sleeve. Look at this. Take. And here white has an excellent move. Firstly, the world champion is now in thought, because he's trying to figure this out on the board. How should he play? And you have Magnus just coming in to see the position, takes, and here find an amazing move for white. And Ding can play bishop a3, by the way. There is c4 to it, but there is a beautiful move. And he finds it. Knight e1, excellent move. The knight is going to d3 to put more pressure, but not just that. It will also go to f4 to attack the d5 pawn and e6 bishop. So amazing chess. If Ding found this entire plan over the board, that's just epic, because now Caruana is under some heavy pressure. You know, to defend these pawns, not so easy, especially knight d3, bishop a3, knight coming to f4, then putting more pressure here. So just for example, you play, let's say, a5 as an example move, then knight d3 attacking here, and if you go knight b4, I'm already attacking here, and there are these tactics which you have to take care of. Take, and queen d4 attacking here and here. So you can see that there are many issues that have to be resolved for Caruana, and that's why he's gone into a thinking mode. He has 6.5 minutes on the clock before this move, and I think he'll come down to 5, as he's thinking for quite some time. But it's not even so simple to figure out what is the right move here. Perhaps the correct move is to go queen c7, knight d3, and putting the queen on b6, because that is generally where the queen is well positioned. I think that's not at all easy to... You just played your queen a couple of moves ago on d7. To then switch it to b6 is not so simple. So Caruana goes rook d8, and Ding quickly plays knight d3, attacking this, and he pushes the pawn. But now you don't really take the pawn. You just play knight f4, and you put even more pressure on d5. He plays it. Knight f4 is on the board. Fantastic chess here by Ding Liren. And if you, by the way, take on b3, then I can first take on e6, fe6 and then take back. In the game he goes bishop b4. Caruana attacks the queen, but I think Ding's best move here is queen c2. He also has an option of queen e3, but queen c2 is an excellent move because then he has this attack on d5 with this, and also the queen can exert pressure down there and on this diagonal. So Ding is clearly debating between these two moves. Also queen e3 perhaps gets hit by some tactical possibilities like c3, bishop c3, and then bishop a3 followed by d4 somewhere coming in. You know, it's not so simple here anymore. So that's the reason why it's the best to play queen c2. But will Ding manage to find it is the question, because you are putting your queen against the rook somewhere. So not so simple to play. And Ding has, by the way, Caruana has gone down to 4.5 minutes. Once again, it's a great reminder that the best way to play in Armageddon is to play the best moves, not to play fast, because once you play the best moves, opponent does fall under time trouble. Queen c2 found, fantastic. And by the way, if you play c3 here, bishop takes c3, and already there are no good ways to give a discovered attack here because queen b2 and white is winning. So now after queen c2, there's also a threat of taking on d5 here. So there are many issues that need to be resolved for Fabiano. And how is he going to continue? Just like that, in 19 moves, Ding Liren from a well-known opening position has outplayed the world number 2. That just goes to show how good Ding is, and he managed to find most of the moves over the board. It was not even his preparation. Now Caruana trying to figure out what is his way forward. I think he needs to move this knight. That is the main thing, because this is hanging. So knight, oh, he goes knight a5. I was thinking knight e7 to defend the d5 pawn, but he goes knight a5. And now the best move again is to take bishop takes d5. And there are some very important variations. So bishop d5, and of course Caruana's idea is not to take here because then there is rook d5, but to take cb and attack this and this. But there is a very amazing move here which Ding has to spot beforehand, which is queen e4, attacking here and here. If you save this bishop, I'm going to take knight e6, pawn e6 and bishop e6. He finds it. He finds bishop d5. Now, bishop d5 is on the board. So Ding, clearly better. Caruana needs to play bishop f5. He mustn't fall for this cb3 idea because queen e4 is a monstrous move. cb3 is just so natural. Like you really want to make that move happen. C takes b3, queen e4, takes, and Ding must find queen e4. No! Bishop e6. He plays this move. This is not a good move. I think Ding calculated it, and his calculations were, if you take here rook d7 and he's piece up and winning. But the problem here is you don't take with the pawn, you take with the rook here. Bishop e6 was not the best move. As we discussed, queen e4, bishop d5, queen b4, and then you win this or this, and this is winning. There were many other little lines to look at, but clearly bishop e6 was not the good move. Caruana finds the best move now, rook c2. Fantastic. Look at the complicated nature of this position. Now you want to take on d7. You can take it with the bishop, but then you lose rook takes b2. You lose the piece. So instead of that, you may want to even consider rook takes on d7, rook takes d7, bishop d7. And here's a beautiful line, like take, bishop takes. If you play rook b2 here, then I take a b3, knight b3, rook c8 check, king h7. And this is a better position for white because of this very nice move. But so he does take rook d7. He's found it, but it's not winning because in the end, after rook takes, bishop takes, you don't really take this bishop. Guys, it's very complicated, but bear with me because the position is like that. Rook d7, bishop d7. At this point, white is a piece up. So black may want to take on b2 and Ding would be better. But Caruana has an excellent resource here. Let's see if he's able to find it. It's the only move to draw here. He finds it. Rook c1, bishop c1, and he wants to queen. Ding stops the pawn from queening, but now he attacks the bishop. You will see that the bishop, if it goes back here, there is knight b3, and you have, if you go to d4, also there is knight b3. So and if you go to e5, there is f6. So the only real move, or you can go, if you go to e5, there is also bishop d6, again attacking and pursuing the bishop. So the only move here is bishop c3. He plays it, but now you can pursue the bishop again. Bishop b4. And there is no way for Ding to make progress here, even though his position, yes, bishop b4, fantastic move. And here the thing is, if Caruana gets a bit ambitious and plays knight b3, it's a mistake, because of bishop a4, queen takes, knight takes, this knight is trapped. And Ding Liren is winning this game later on. I mean, he's better. He's piece up almost. So that's the reason why it's important to keep this bishop b2, bishop c3 dance, and with bishop a3, bishop b4 by Caruana going on. And the game will end in a draw. And you can see that both the players have agreed to a draw. And what a game, what a complicated game it was.